Welcome. Glad you could be with us today. So, let's get started. Talking about Apple's latest products on Go for Lunch for March the 10th, 2026. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I am Roger Harmon, your host. And as always, we're here to make your technology work for you. Well, speaking of spring, it's the Festival of Life in the Cracks Day. What does that mean? Well, when little plants start growing out between cracks in sidewalks and other structures around your house, that's a sure sign of spring. And welcome, Chris. So we're going to talk about how Apple introduced these products. So they didn't do a keynote with a nice video presentation. This year, instead, they invited the press to 3 cities around the world: New York, London, and Shanghai or Singapore. I can't remember which. So these people were invited, and then that was on Wednesday. So they saw all the new products so they could take pictures and get some hands-on time with them and write all of their reviews and articles and impressions so that we would understand what they're all about. So I've been watching a lot of those reviews, and so I'm bringing it to you and customizing it for what I think that you would need. So this happened between Monday, March the 2nd, and Wednesday, March the 4th, and they introduced things on each of those 3 days. So depending on how you count them, there's at least 7 new products: the iPhone 17e, the MacBook Air M4, the iPad Air M4, the MacBook Air, and some MacBook Pro models, a Studio display, a Studio XDR display, and the long-rumored and much anticipated MacBook Neo. So let's talk about the iPhone 17e. It has a 48 megapixel Fusion camera, one camera. It has a 6.1 Retina display. That's a Super Retina display. It does support Apple Intelligence, so it's got pretty good silicon chip in there. It will work with the satellite emergency SOS system, and you can send messages via satellite when you're away from cellular reception. It is shipping on March 11th, as it is all those products that we're going to talk about today. So it comes in 3 colors: black, white, and soft pink. And it is $599. So who is this for? Well, if you have an old iPhone, like an iPhone 12 or later, this would be a good phone for you. If you don't take a lot of pictures, this would be a good phone for you if you're upgrading. And so it is a nice all-around phone, minus the multi-lens cameras of the Pro and the Pro Max. You can also trade one in, starting with an iPhone 8. An iPhone 8 trade-in value was $35 when I checked it, and the trade-in value goes up as the model number goes up. So you want to check on the Apple trade-in. Sometimes you can get the better prices by selling it to a third party, but with Apple there's very little hassle. It's the easiest way to trade in your phone. So the iPad Air M4, it's 2.3 times faster than the M1 Air. They're not telling us how much faster it is than the M4 Air, but that's the way Apple does things. It has Wi-Fi 7, so if you're looking for an excuse to upgrade your home Wi-Fi to the newest Wi-Fi 7, there it is. The 11-inch starts at $599 and the 13-inch is at $799. It comes in blue, purple, starlight, and space gray. And that's what it looks like. One camera, a beautiful screen. So definitely a worthy upgrade if your iPad is getting older. Maybe the battery is not lasting all day. So this is would be a good upgrade for you. So now we have the MacBook Pro with the M5 Pro and the M5 Max chips. So the 14-inch MacBook Pro with an M5 Pro chipset has 24 gigabytes of RAM. It has a 1 terabyte of storage, so they're starting out with lots of RAM and storage at a price of $21.99. Then we have the 16-inch, starts at $26.99 with the same 24 megabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage. And of course, that's just the starting point. You can go all the way up to, I think, 32 gigs of RAM and 4 terabytes of storage if you need that much. So the design is the same as the last several years, so nothing there to talk about. Now we have the M5 MacBook Air. This is the most popular computer that Apple sells. It is faster than an M4. The 13-inch is at $10.99 with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 5 gigabyte SSD for storage. And then they have the 15-inch at $12.99 and the same 16 and 512 configuration. So they brought out 2 monitors, the Studio XDR, which used to be 32 inches, now it's 27 inches with a 5K Retina XDR screen. It has a brightness of 2000 nits, which is pretty bright. And the tilt and height adjustable stand that used to be a $900 option is included. It also features a Thunderbolt 5 hub, and it's only $3,299. So they tell me that for the features that's a good deal compared to other monitors of similar specs, but I don't imagine any of us will be buying one of those. Now we have the Studio Display, which is also a 27-inch monitor with a 12 megapixel center stage camera. Center stage is a feature that follows you around as you move, and then desk view looks down at your desk so you can show people things on your desk. It has a studio quality 3 microphone array, so people are going to hear you as well as see you well, with the 6 speaker sound system with spatial audio and Thunderbolt 5 support. And it is $1,599. So I don't know if any of you are going to be buying that one, but it is a nice display. So now we have the real star of our show, the MacBook Neo. So the big news about that is it's the least expensive MacBook ever at $599 and is $100 cheaper if you are a student or have educational pricing. It will support Apple Intelligence. For $100 more, you can get a Touch ID, which I highly recommend, and 512 gigabytes SSD storage. So this is what it looks like. It's made out of aluminum, so it's very sturdy. The keyboard is tinted to match the colors, and it is the same weight actually as a MacBook Air. I think it's 2.7 pounds, so it's highly portable. So let's talk about who should be getting a MacBook Neo and who should be getting a MacBook Air M5. So as we mentioned, it's a good deal for students, $100 less. So if you're just doing web surfing, email, text editing or word processing, spreadsheets, things like that, then this is probably all you need. So it's the most affordable Mac ever. It has a battery life of 16 hours compared to 18 hours on the MacBook Air. It comes in some lively colors, the citrus, which is kind of a yellow, a blush, which is kind of a pink, and the indigo, which is kind of a blue, and of course it comes in silver. Now, one thing that it doesn't have because of the low price is a backlit keyboard. So if you are typing in the dark, then you might want to go up to the MacBook Air. And the base model, of course, does not have Touch ID, but for $100 more, you get Touch ID. So let's look at the MacBook Air M5. It has the M5 chip, which has more powerful processors and neural accelerators, which helps in graphics and in artificial intelligence. It starts at 16 gigabytes of memory and goes up from there. It has a better screen. The screen on these are 13 point, I think, 1 inch. The screen over here on the Neo is 13 inches, so just a tiny bit smaller. It does have a backlit keyboard. It does have MagSafe 3, which is the magnetic powered cord. And the Neo does not have that. And it does have a better camera, 12 megapixel center stage. So let's talk about an accessory that you probably will want either with the Mac Neo or the MacBook Air. So with both of these, you can attach an external monitor. So that would be something that you might want to consider. You can also use a powered hub to attach to Ethernet. It has multiple ports, so you can attach your printer and your Time Machine drive. And here is an example of a powered 9-in-1 hub. Now, the reason we say powered is because you want it to be powered because otherwise it's getting all the power from the MacBook. And sometimes when you're running a hard drive, that will not be enough power. So what you do is you plug in your power adapter into this hub instead of into the Mac. So it powers the hub and then passes through and powers the Mac as well. So this is made by Pluggable. You can see it was awarded the best of 2025 by Macworld. And if you're updating from a 27-inch iMac, you could get the MacBook Neo and an HDMI monitor, which you would plug into your hub and have a 27-inch or even a 32-inch monitor. So something to be aware of if you are running an Intel Mac, iMac, or MacBook is that Mac OS 27, that's just going to be coming out in September, will not support Intel Macs. So you will be stuck on Mac OS 26 Tahoe for the rest of that Mac's life. So something to consider. You've got some time to worry about that, so give that some thought. In other news, a book has been published called Apple, The First 50 Years by David Pogue. You may know of David as a reporter on CBS Sunday Morning. He was formerly a columnist, the tech columnist for the New York Times, and before that he was a columnist and a regular contributor to Macworld magazine. So he's been in the Mac world for a long time, and he wrote a 600-page book with 360 full-color photos, new facts and corrections to the record that illuminates Apple's subversive culture, with 150 fresh new interviews from legendary figures who supported Apple into what it is today. So it comes out today. And thank you for Chris for bringing that to my attention. And you can get it at any of these booksellers. I was surprised to see Walmart and Target on there. But it's $50 on Amazon. I think it's $47. And you can order it today. So something that might look nice on your coffee table. So that brings us to questions. If you haven't updated your Zoom lately, it's now at version 6.7.7. And do me a favor and share the GoFor Gazette. Forward it to one person, just one person that you know that uses Apple devices. And I'd appreciate a like, a thumbs up. That helps YouTube show this video to more people that we can help. So let's see what you have to say here. Get the comments up. And hola Leslie, and hola to Chris. And so Alice is considering getting a new Mac, so I hope we gave you the information that you need to get. And so the one out this week is all of those. So they're all out tomorrow, Wednesday, March 11th, will be in stores. You could have pre-ordered it before. They'll be in stores and they will be delivered if you pre-ordered it tomorrow. I've heard that the shipping times have been slipping on most of the colors. So it may, if you haven't ordered one yet, it might be later in March. And Chris says there's been rumors of a new iMac later this year. Well, that we'll have to wait and see. And Kindle version of Pogue's book is $20. So if you just want to hear the facts and not look at the pictures, I guess the pictures would be in a Kindle book. So that might be a way to save some money. And what are the pros of the Neo? Well, the pros of the Neo are $599. It's a sturdy aluminum case. It can do probably everything that you need to do unless you're a professional or prosumer photographer, unless you want to do video editing, any intensive functions of the computer. You'd probably need to go to at least a MacBook Air. So it's just a nice little machine. It's completely redesigned from the ground up. It uses actually an iPhone 16, A16 Pro chip. So it doesn't have an M series chip in it. So that's one way that they saved money. But it, in some speed tests, it had the same kind of speeds as an M4 Mac. So it is a pretty good performer. And let's see here, what do we got here? Okay, so like again, for most people, I think the Mac Neo will be fine, especially if you are just doing the normal routine step. So Bob says if you are looking for a new Mac and considering a Neo, he suggests that you have a talk with Roger before ordering. Well, that's great. I don't charge for giving you information before you order new equipment. So I would be happy to discuss that with you one-on-one. So I've learned a lot about the Neo this week as I've been watching many YouTube videos and reading articles. And you are welcome, Alice. So I think it's a neat little computer. and I think it's going to be a big hit, especially with students. And so if you thank you, Leslie. That is true. So I think it's going to be a big seller. And the way you get the educational pricing, if you have a student in the family, you go to a special educational website for Apple, and that's where you see the educational pricing. Of course, if you're at a university, usually they sell them at the university bookstores at the educational price. So that is the way to do that. If you think of any other questions after we finish, give me a call or send me an email. My contact information is coming up right now. So until next week at high noon for another Go for Lunch, take care and stay safe.